let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Wake up and hit the ground running. It's The Rush, presented by Willis Auto, with Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bringing you raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic talk about sports, life, and everything else that matters. No filtered, no fluff, just The Rush.
Good morning. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you here on a Wednesday. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. If you're listening on the audio stream this morning at therushradio.com, on the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, great to have you here. Hit that subscribe button and go ahead and like this video and leave your comments. You can follow us on our social media channels, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Good morning there, Ross Peterson. People noticing the changes already.
Yeah. You just told me about the changes about an hour ago. We got new music, got new fun stuff. People are going to hear some changes here. That's fun.
Yeah, I had to make a couple changes just because of the stuff behind the scenes and trying to improve some stuff. But you know, it doesn't hurt to mix it up every once in a while too. And I was kind of looking at the Tropic. I almost got rid of the Tropic Thunder open, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool though. I like the Tropic Thunder open. I get used to the Tropic Thunder open.
Yeah, I like
it's my security.
And let's make lemonade and
yes,
let's go to work.
Yep. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Look at you. You look like a guy right out of. You look like that the Sprockets dude. You remember Sprockets?
That's not a compliment. What the hell?
You look like Sprockets.
My shirt then.
No. You got the haircut and the black hoodie on. You look good.
I told you I was going to the barber.
I know, and you clean up well. You clean up really, really well.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Tommy takes care of me. It's amazing how I walk out of there and feel like I have more hair. Because when it's all like it's so thin and I got that weird comb over thing that happens when the wind blows. This is like standing straight up, and I feel like what's Bill Murray's character in Kingpin? Why can't I think of it? Oh man, you know what I'm talking about? Come on, Ross. This is embarrassing. This is an easy one. This is a layup in the morning. Bill Murray in Kingpin.
The name of the character?
Yeah. Can't believe it. Ernie McCracken. How have I not come up with that? Charlie, thank you. Big Ern. Ernie McCracken. What a great character. What a great character. Remember he does the commercial for like the Big Brothers, Big Sisters thing? He's like, if you're a single mom, I will gladly come over and be the parental figure for you. Have you remember this?
I need to watch Kingpin again. I've only watched it like once or twice.
But the women are smoking hot, and he's...
So this is not on the show rundown today, but it seems like a good rabbit hole to go down. It's going to be a group effort between people who call it 515-517-2303 and also people in the chat. Kingpin, obviously a bowling movie, right? Is it a sports movie? What are movies that are sports movies but aren't sports movies? So you look at Kingpin.
About Slapshot?
Oh,
does Slapshot fall into this category that you're talking about? Because I mean, it's not. It's about a hockey team.
Yeah, the Charlestown Chiefs.
Oh, that movie's so great. That's so good.
It is.
There's so many good lines in Slapshot. I mean, from the very opening scene when the goalie is on the TV show and they're like, "Can you explain some of the finer rules of hockey?" Yes. You do this. You go into the penalty box. You feel shame. There's high sticking. He's like smacking the shit out of the guy.
So
reporters.
Is Slapshot the bar? Is Slapshot like the highest bar when it comes to those movies?
No, I mean, I think we're talking about movies that Caddyshack, right? Caddyshack's a golf movie, but is it? I mean, it's not a golf movie in the way that like Bagger Vance or The Greatest Game or maybe even Tin Cup. I mean, those are about golf. Caddyshack's not about golf. Golf is one of the vehicles to be able to deliver some of the funny stuff. I think Slapshot's that same way. Like, dude, I have so many of those Slapshot lines going through my head. Semi-Pro. I love Semi-Pro. That's another one that's full of amazing lines. Duke's just won a giant check that says $10,000. Hey, man, I can't cash this check. Have you been to a bigger bank? Maybe one with a big check department?
See, Patrick says blue chips. Now, blue chips to me was all about college basketball and cheating, right? That was centered around cheating. God, yeah. I mean, there's so many good movies that are based around sports, and most of them comedies. Any Given Sunday is obviously a pretty serious film. The Replacements, obviously, is that a comedy? The Replacements? No.
How about David says Varsity Blues? That's an interesting one because Varsity Blues is another one. Is that really about football?
Yeah, because to me it is because, and it's funny that you bring up Varsity Blues because I just watched it the other night because I wanted to see Allie Lauder in a bikini, a whipped cream bikini.
Unbelievable, dude. I wanted to see.
Because Allie Lauder is naked in Landman. Oh, beautiful boobs. She's got a rack like you wouldn't believe, and it's awesome. So I'm like, I'll go back.
The gal that did the whipped cream bikini.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that is really all about football because it shows you the culture of high school football in Texas at the time. Really dives
John Voight in it, right? And he's the mean old football coach. Yeah. Okay.
And it really centers around how they would push those kids and how just everything. It was all around football. But yeah, just thinking of Kingpin and just how many great movies were centered around sports. It's kind of fun just to think about.
Field of Dreams, Sean says. And I think that's a fair one. Is Field of Dreams about baseball? Really.
No, it's more about a father-son connection that wasn't there, right? I mean, it's more about life. You had the farm getting foreclosed on.
Dude.
All sorts of good stuff.
Chad is killing it today. Brewster's Millions. Remember Brewster's Millions?
You brought up Pryor yesterday. And he's in
toy. Oh,
yes,
man, he was in some really underrated movies. Brewster's Millions was such a good one. That movie is the one that teaches you about assets. What's an asset? I didn't know when I was 8 years old. I didn't know what an asset was. Pop in Brewster's Millions, and 2 hours later, you're like, I get it.
Jason says Major League. Major League to me was all about baseball. It was all about surviving as the Indians, and they needed the villain, which was the owner. But it was still, it was about every scene was baseball pretty much.
Let me ask you a question about Major League. Yes or no question about Major League. No Googling involved, but I feel like I'm on the air with an expert. Okay. Does Major League have nudity in it?
Ooh, I don't believe it does. Or does it?
Now. I would say no. All right? But the other night, Eli is talking with Courtney, and he's like, yeah, I remember when I was a kid, and my dad, first boobs I saw, first nudity I ever saw was when I was like 8. My dad showed me Major League. And Courtney's like, Ross. And I go, there's no nudity in Major League. I said, Eli, you're thinking of Coming to America. And he goes, oh, I remember that hot tub scene. I said, there's no nudity in Major League. And they were both like, yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. When they take the thing
I wanted there to be nudity in Major League. When it kept getting closer and closer, I'm like, God, tell me they're going to show it all.
So you tell me what you remember then. When they pull off the final piece of when they finally win the pennant. And they tear off the final piece of remember they have the cardboard cut out of the owner. That's what that's like their incentive to win it is that they're going to see her naked.
Yeah.
When they peel off the final thing,
I thought it was just like a bikini bottom. That's what I thought.
It was a bikini as well. She has pasties on her nipples.
Okay.
And I was like, they're like, yeah. And Courtney's like, remember, there's the pasties on the nipples. I go, oh, you said there was nudity. Like, that's not. I don't know.
Pasties aren't nudity. If I go to a strip club and they're wearing pasties, I'm not at a strip club. Pasties are not nudity.
Flag says, isn't Dorn's wife naked at some point? Remember Roger Dorn's wife?
Roger Dorn's wife who slept with Charlie Sheen.
Finds him in the bar. God, she's beautiful too.
She was. Or is. I think what
there's
maybe
not nudity in Major League. I will hold firm on this, that you might see a butt.
I think a movie example that I'm referring to, and somebody said it earlier, was Radio. Sure, football was the thing, but the story was about radio.
I have a Tropic Thunder line going through my head. I don't want to say right now.
Never go full.
Cuba Gooding. Radio. Went home empty-handed.
I'm glad we find ourselves funny. I really am. We are hilarious. But yeah,
Boy,
I mean,
that's a fun conversation, though, because there's so many great lines from each one of those movies. Radio, I barely remember. Radio was one of those movies that we got to go to for free. They were like so looking to get people to go to that movie that they let us go for free when we worked for the old outlet. And that was always an indication that the movie was going to suck.
But I didn't think Radio sucked. I thought Ed Harris, I believe, was in Radio. I liked Radio.
I remember being uncomfortable.
Were you uncomfortable because of the Radio character?
Yeah,
because he played it so well because he went full?
Because Cuba Gooding Jr. is like...
He went full Simple Jack. Stupid ass Jack.
He did. Oh, stupid ass Jack. Farting in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Slapshot. Dude, David brings up Slapshot again. There's so many little lines in Slapshot. Like you almost have to. It's a movie that I really do think, because even when he is doing the radio interview, remember they're trying to get people to come out to watch him, and so Reg Dunlap goes into the radio interview. The entire radio interview is freaking hilarious. The entire thing. He's like, he's like, yeah, we've got a very diverse team this year. You've even got a college graduate. He's like, what's one of the other lines? Oh, yeah, because they're like, all right, let's take some phone calls now. You're on the air. And the lady instantly is like, Dunlap, you old hack, you got to retire. And he's like, all right. He hangs up and he goes, now let's remember, folks, if you do want to call in, keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
I want to know if this is a cardinal sin of any male over the age of, I would say, even 30. Jason says, I don't think I've seen Slapshot.
You're going too young there, dude.
Really?
You are. In fact, I would say anybody over 40 that hasn't seen it, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody over 40. There's a break there. And Jason, I think, is a younger guy. I think Jason is still in his 30s, if that. He's in his 30s, I believe.
Jason, if you're in your 30s, and I do need to say this, you need to go, even if it's for rent, you need to rent it, because Slapshot stands the test of time. To me, when it comes to sports movies that are funny and a comedy, that's the standard, because it is. David.
Fellas, we're getting all sorts of stuff now. Jason's 44. I thought Jason was younger than that. Jason, you look good for 44, my friend. Keep it up.
David says he's 57 and he's never seen it. Now that's a sin.
I know
that's
David.
a sin.
Yeah, David. Yeah, that's one you'd like that movie. Fellas,
49. What is up with
fellas? Oh,
That's
man. There are so many funny lines.
I mean, in set in the 70s where you could make the movie today, but it wouldn't be as funny because you watch it and you just see.
I mean, they play on some cultural stereotypes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the goalie is just hysterical. Everything the goalie says is funny. They said so the premise of the movie is it's kind of like a hockey version of Major League. The team needs to lose so that they can move the franchise, okay? Well, the team gets together and decides we're not going to lose. We're going to screw the owner over by winning. But while they're trying to figure this out, they send the goalie. They're like, "Hey, go up to the owner's box and ask him what's going on. Ask him what's going on." Well, the guy barely speaks English, so he goes up and he's like, "We're wondering who owns the team." And the guy goes, owns the team. Who owns the team? And so the guy goes back down, and Paul Newman's like, "What did he say?" And he goes, owns.
Yeah.
There's boobies in Slapshot. I feel like a couple different boobies in Slapshot. And when you're a kid, man, it's a big
deal.
Those are canon moments. Yeah.
I mean, when you're an adult, those are canon moments, right? I mean, it's like, boom. But, man, to be our age and not have seen Slapshot is just, it's a cardinal sin.
See, I think I like this conversation of these movies they're sports adjacent movies.
Yes.
They have sports in them, but they're not necessarily about the sport.
Is Hoosiers about basketball, or is it about Mr. Dale?
Yes, it's a true story.
Yeah.
I think
based on a true story.
I think anytime it's based on a true story, it's about the movie. It's about the sport. Does that make sense? Like there's a storyline in it, but dude from Iowa throws out one that starts a lot of conversations, okay? Rocky. Rocky is not a boxing movie. And they intentionally do something at the end of the movie to show you. Have you ever heard this, Travis?
No, I've never heard this philosophy or this thought about Rocky.
Rocky is a love story, and the definitive proof of that is at the very end of the movie. It kind of gives me chills for a second there. That was weird. When they announce who the winner of the fight is.
Which was Apollo Creed in Rocky 1. We're not giving anything away there.
It's in the background. It's behind. It is underneath him screaming for Adrian.
Adrian!
Yeah.
Adrian!
He's screaming for her. She runs into the ring and hugs him, and you hear in the background that he lost the fight. I got chills. I seriously just got chills thinking about that.
Okay, if there's people who haven't seen Slapshot, and I want this to be honest, are there people that have never seen Rocky? Are there people watching and listening to us right now that have never seen the movie Rocky? That would be interesting. Because Rocky seems to get more TV time than Slapshot.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't seen Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky Lives, Rocky Reigns, Rocky 8 Million, I get that. But Rocky 1...
We had somebody that pointed out something really important about Rocky. It was a dude from Iowa again. Rocky finished the Cold War.
That was Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Mike says he's 44 years old and has never seen a single Rocky movie. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Man, guys, listen, if movies aren't your thing, movies aren't your thing. I get that. That's to not have seen Rocky, like all the cultural things that have come from Rocky.
I mean, I purposely, and I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but if there are certain movies that have been popular over time and I haven't seen, I try to do it, like Citizen Kane. Most people wouldn't watch Citizen Kane today, but I'm like, I figure it's been called the best movie of all time, so I might as well watch Citizen Kane. So I watched Citizen Kane and Rosebud. You know, you're like, okay, it was a good movie, but it wasn't anything spectacular.
David says, if we're doing sports adjacent movies like Talladega Nights and Semi-Pro, technically Porky's would fit into that category because the sport of pole dancing,
which is now like that's like a real workout now. You can take pole dancing classes.
The great part, and I saw Jamie asked earlier if is Major League a baseball? Is that what you said, Jamie? I saw that. Yeah, is Major League about baseball? I don't think you could tell that story without baseball being in it. I'm not sure Major League is one that, because of Bob Uecker. I don't know. Maybe. Interesting conversation. I'm blown away at how many people haven't seen Rocky.
Yeah, that one's surprising. So now you have homework. It's very simple homework. You watch Slapshot, and you watch Rocky.
Brothers, you have gone. You're 44 years old, and you don't know about the Hanson brothers. When the official skates up to them during the national anthem.
No, it's not just the skate up. It's the look back. It's the look back. You just look back. It finally can't take it anymore. It just goes up to him. It's the national anthem, man. It's the national anthem.
Remember what he says? Do you remember what he says to the official? I'm trying to listen to the fucking song. Slapshot's got some great stuff in it, but again, when Paul Newman calls and he goes, they brought their toys.
Remember they're putting the tinfoil?
They're putting the tinfoil on their
hands.
Yeah.
Got a couple of goons. Oh, God.
Jason says, what's the name of the Kurt Russell, Robin Williams football movie? That's called The Best of Times. Trav, you don't know The Best of Times?
No. I've never watched Best of Times.
That's one that's right there with Slapshot. It's like early 80s. It's a fun movie, man, where these guys are in their 30s and they're remembering Kurt Russell had been the high school quarterback. He was like, prom king type of guy. He's married to his high school sweetheart, and he's still buddies with his friend Robin Williams, who's obviously Robin Williams. He's nerdy, and they've got this amazing story about when they were in high school that they had to play the crosstown rival that was like, the Southeast Polk or Dowling, like the team that won net state every year. But this one year, they had a shot because they had Kurt Russell. And Kurt Russell, his name was, I almost said Billy Johnson, but that's Billy White Shoes Johnson, right? Yes. And so one of the storylines was when Kurt Russell wore these white cleats, he was unbelievable. He was just the best ever. And so there's this great scene where they've got the video, like the old reel-to-reel of the game, and Robin Williams owns it. And the reason he sits and watches it is because the last play of the game, he gets loose along the sideline. Kurt Russell drops a beautiful ball into his hands, and he bobbles it and drops it, and they lose the game. And so it's something that he's never gotten over. Even his buddies are still 20 years later kind of picking on him for it. And so he gets an idea. He's like, what if we recreate it? What if we do the game again? What if we had like an old-timers game and we all came back and played that football game one more time? Maybe I'd get a shot at redemption if I did that. Well, then it turns into this whole storyline of the two towns. The town that's been, the steel mill town, and then the high-dollar Dallas community. And they put the game together. Well, dude, some of the guys from the other team had like made it to the NFL. Some of them had been in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like they were dogs. And now you got like this accountant out there who's set up the game. And then the play happens again. It just so happens that the final play, and Kurt Russell comes out of the locker room at halftime wearing his white shoes. And they're like, oh, he's wearing his white shoes. And in one of the greatest pieces of film, honestly, I've watched this movie a dozen times, and I think it's fascinating. Everybody should watch that movie just to see how they shoot the last scene of Robin Williams bobbling this ball for like 15 yards, dude. It's not like Hollywood like fumbling. No, it's almost like they had to shoot this thing 20 times to get it just right so that he bats it and finally grabs it and falls to the ground.
The best of times.
The best of times. That's a good one. That's a fun one.
I'm going to have to watch that one because I don't think I've seen Best of Times. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to go through each sport.
Okay.
Your gut reaction.
All right, fire away.
Best
Bang,
movie.
bang.
Hockey.
Rapid fire. Slapshot.
Basketball.
Hoosiers.
Baseball.
Major League.
Football.
The Program.
The Program?
I froze there.
Because I think football's the hardest one. I do. And I'm probably thinking more comedy, but it was a comedy, but it wasn't. I think the original Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds is one of those.
Oh, really?
It's sports adjacent, but you've got murder in there, you've got comedy in there. I think I broke his freaking neck. That's where I learned about a clothesline.
Rudy is the one I've seen the most. I loved Rudy. It's not fake, Jay. It's not fake. Jay, by the way, just got married. Congratulations, Jay. Beautiful wife, man. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Or engaged. Maybe, yeah. Jay says golf, it's Happy Gilmore. See, Caddyshack to me is just too classic. I love Happy Gilmore. That's a fun movie. But I think it's Caddyshack. Football, I think, is where you're going to get the best conversation. You nailed it, Travis. We Are Marshall. People are saying Friday Night Lights. Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans is really good.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington in that.
Football movies, man.
Yeah. And I'm probably going towards a more comedic range to where I just want to laugh, and have a good time. And so, that's kind of where it goes.
Wrong, Jay. Sorry, Jay. Didn't mean to get your hopes up.
I'm already married, man. Don't tell my wife that I got engaged.
Ooh.
It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
That was like a little horn.
We want to give you a deal. We want you to go to fullcourtpressdm.com. That's fullcourtpressdm.com and sign up for the newsletter. Why should you sign up for the newsletter? Because one of you is going to win a $50 gift certificate to a Full Court Press establishment. That's right. So go to fullcourtpressdm.com to sign up for the newsletter. Bruno's been talking about it. We're going to talk about it. And now we're going to start giving you stuff, and more stuff coming up from Full Court Press and the newsletter and the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Again, fullcourtpressdm.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and you are registered to win a $50 gift certificate. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
There's more Iowa in the Iowa Tap Room than you may realize. Housed in a building nearly as old as Iowa itself, the Iowa Tap Room greets you with a harvest of 120 Iowa craft beers on tap from all corners of the state. And the food doesn't get much more Iowa than this. The Iowa Tap Room, all Iowa beer, one amazing place.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Hi, Nate Shoesmith with Willis Cadillac. I'm the newest addition to the team. Wanted to introduce myself and let you guys know what awesome deals we have on our EVs today. This month we have 2.9% up to 60 months on our Cadillac Optic, Lyric, and Vistic. For all you Escalade fans out there, we are happy to have 3 in stock right now available. We also have this beautiful blue 2026 CT5V, new for the year color. If you'd like to schedule a test drive, visit us at williscadillac.com or visit our showroom today.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Wednesday. Got a little chilly last night. A little chilly. Hope your plants made it.
By the way, I have confirmed no nudity in Major League. And my buddy
Thank
Kyle,
you.
My buddy Kyle wrote and said, "Hey man, I think that when they call Jake at the beginning of the movie and ask him to be, wait, I thought that was Kyle that said no, that's my buddy TJ. He said, isn't one of the Mexican girls in bed with Jake in Major League when they call him for the team? Remember when he called? He's like, Jake, hey, want to talk to you about being manager or being a catcher for the Cleveland Indians." He goes, "This isn't funny. I'm hungover." But
of course,
no,
Major
Chick's not naked. In fact, I Googled it, and it goes through IMDb has an entire content rating thing. Tells you every time. It says a man and a woman kiss for about a minute. The guy takes off the woman's blouse and her skirt, but it's not shown. Remember how he does it? Remember how he does it, Trav?
No.
It's a good move. It's a good move. It's a good move. He pulls down her skirt a little bit, and he puts his foot into the crotch of her, and pulls him down that way. It's a good move.
I don't think I could get my leg up that high.
Yeah, you could have. A man
Maybe
is
back
looking, it says man's looking at a porn magazine. On the cover, a woman is wearing a revealing top. These are the, and then of course the cardboard cutout of the woman. And apparently, if you're looking real close, there's a man's pubic hair seen through his jockstrap at one point.
Oh, a pubic hair showing through a jockstrap. Yeah.
Kalen knows what I'm talking about with his cleats. You're right. You got that right, Kalen. Got that right. You know what I'm talking about.
With his cleats.
You know what I'm talking about.
Of course, Major League was about a team that wanted to move. The owner, I think, wanted to move the Cleveland Indians to Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And this kind of leads us into a subject that I wanted to talk about because I got excited last night. I turned on Netflix and I was looking for something to watch, and I don't know why this wasn't one of those highlighted documentaries. And all of a sudden, I'm kind of going through documentaries, and they're like, "Who killed the Expos?" And I'm like, "What? Where has this been?" And the Expos are one of those teams that, again, if you're a certain age, there's a generation that doesn't even know that Montreal had a team, right? And which is kind of crazy to me because I believe this year was number 20 in D.C. Can you believe that? 20 years in D.C. already. And time has flown by. And I texted you and I said, hey, watch this because I'd like to talk about it tomorrow. And I actually used it for our thumbnail on YouTube. And I said, hey, who killed the Expos? Because I don't know if I really understood the entire story around the Expos and how times were different back in the late 70s, 80s, into the 90s to where they are now in professional sports. The valuation of teams today is just sick to what they were back then. But it was a fascinating story about a franchise that, first of all, Ross, and you can say this probably about any city that has a team, you're going to have your rabid fans. But Montreal was the first Major League Baseball team in Canada, right? They were there before the Toronto Blue Jays. And I didn't realize what a culture of baseball they had in Canada. I just sit there and go, okay, you're hockey, you're French Canadian, you speak a different language. There's no way you like baseball. The fans of Expos they're passionate, and they're still heartbroken today that they don't have the Expos, right? I mean, they're just totally heartbroken. So you had a pretty wealthy businessman who owned the Expos, but understood that the financial model was changing, and he was losing. Think about this, and at the time, it's a lot of money, losing like $20 million a year. And he said, listen, I could handle losing like $5 to $10 million a year. You start getting that $20, $30 million, it becomes not financially viable to own the team. So he wanted to sell the team, and they really wanted a Canadian. They really wanted it to stay local for the fact that it would stay in Montreal. And that's totally understandable, right? The last thing you want is an American to come in and buy the team because you never know what's going to happen. So you had a guy by the name of Claude Brochu who was working with the original owner, who did something revolutionary at the time. Listen to this. I think he needed to come up with like $30 million, 30 or something $1 million to buy the team. This was revolutionary at the time. He got a group of investors. I mean,
so
every
revolutionary. Baseball didn't like it.
No.
Baseball's like, no. It's supposed to be one guy that owns the team. He's like, well, we want to keep the team in Montreal, and I don't have the money. The team, if I remember right, Travis, the team was for sale for $100 million, but he needed. And he needed to raise that. Get up to $100 million.
Yeah.
So he needed like 12 different business owners in Montreal to pool their money together to do it. So he got the guys together.
Yeah, they made like 236 asks. They're like, give us $1 million, give us $5 million. You'll have a piece of the pie, but we want to have this consortium of investors. I mean, think about it today. You have major investment groups that are putting together, so Major League Baseball finally approved the deal because they said there has to be one point of contact, and that was that Claude Brochu. They said, as long as you're the one making the decisions. And what really led to the sale of the team, and I didn't know this either, the Canadian dollar tanked in like the 80s. It was 71 cents compared to an American dollar, but players were paid in American dollars. Think about the financial...
Dude, that blew me away when that realization that they were taking in Canadian dollars and having to pay out U.S. dollars when the currency exchange was 71 cents to the dollar. They were losing 30 cents for every dollar that they made. I mean, and paid back out, basically.
Yes.
That's bad. I don't know how they survived as long as they did with that. I do think, Trav, before we get too far into it here, I do think that there was some revisionist history happening in there, okay? They do paint it as like, oh my gosh, Montreal was such an amazing baseball city. People in Montreal loved baseball. And right away I was like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. I remember Rick Riley writing articles for Sports Illustrated. One specific article, Rick Riley and his son went to a game in Montreal and counted the fans. They counted the people at the game. Imagine that. Imagine how few people would have to be at a game for you to take on that endeavor. And they didn't go with that intention. They went because they knew that things were falling apart. They heard that things were going to probably, and he said to his son, we should probably go watch a game in Montreal before this thing is over. And they got there, and there were like 5,000 people at this game in this giant stadium. And his son was like, Dad, I bet we could count the people here. And so they set up a system, separated, and counted the people at a Montreal Expos game. That's what that when we first started it, when I first started the documentary, that my first instinct was like, who killed the Montreal Expos? The people of Montreal.
But did that happen? And we're going to get to, was that later, right before the end, when they just weren't very good?
Was right at the end when he went. Yes. But again, it had been a precipitous slide to where he knew this is an inevitability that they're going to leave there. We should go up there and go see this. And then when they got there, they were like, holy cow, it's even worse than being reported. Because as we know, they lie about those attendance numbers, Nebraska. They lie about how many people are actually showing up at games and buying tickets. They lie, and they can do that a lot of different ways. They can just fudge ticket sales. They can give away tickets and then claim that those people came. But, man, when you start talking about how many bodies turned through the turnstile, it's a whole different deal.
So in 1994, the Expos have what may be the best team in baseball. I mean, Pedro Martinez is on that team. Marquise Grissom is on that team. Larry Walker is on that team. I mean, it was stacked, and it was a very, very young team. And now at this point, Ross, fans are definitely showing up at Olympic Stadium, right? They're going to the games. They are passionate, and they thought that would be the good time to launch the initiative of a new stadium. Understandably so, but they had some problems getting some financing. But in the middle of the 94 season, what happened? You had a strike. You canceled the playoffs. You canceled the World Series. You had the best team in baseball, and boom. Well, once the floodgates opened after the strike ended because there was no salary cap, Montreal was very much in favor of a salary cap. You had this Bruchot who did a fire sale, basically gave away everybody. Sent Marquise Grissom to Atlanta. They essentially, and Larry Walker talked about it, he goes, I'm Canadian. I didn't know anything else. They basically fired me. I didn't have a team. I ended up in Colorado. They get rid of Pedro Martinez. They just, and they didn't get anything in return. So they went from being the best team in baseball to almost clowns. I mean, overnight. Just overnight. Yep. And then you tried to get a stadium deal, and it wasn't happening. And there was no movement on it. So in comes Jeff Loria from New York City. He gets 13% of the team, I believe. Bruchot is out. And what happens when you have a group of investors when you need to invest? There's a cash call, right? I mean, we're like, hey, we need another influx of cash. Nobody could provide the said influx of cash, and overnight, Loria becomes 93% owner of the Expos, just like that. And this was, I think, 1999, maybe 2000. And he's like, hey, we want to stay, but we need a new stadium. And they do show you, Olympic Stadium is a dump.
Oh, man, it was bad.
Absolute dump.
What a weird stadium.
Well, it was built for the Olympics, right? You remember, I mean, that's what made it weird. Yeah. And you had that where the flame was and all. It was just a really weird stadium. And, of course, in stadium deals, and we see it all over the country now, what do you need? You need public support. There needs to be that private-public relationship because new stadiums do bring in revenue to other parts. Well, the Canadian economy is still in tank, especially in Quebec. They're closing hospitals. They're doing all this stuff. And they're like, we cannot consciously give you public money to build a new stadium. And what happened was Jeff Loria basically cuts a deal behind the scenes with Major League Baseball. Remember, Major League Baseball contracted the Expos. In the deal, Loria got the Marlins, and Major League Baseball and the owners basically took control of the Expos, and then they moved to Washington, D.C. I don't know if any one person specifically, and at the end of the documentary, I don't know if any one person was in charge of killing the Expos. There's a lot of things that went into play to make that franchise leave. After watching it, I fully understand, I think, why they left. I mean, you didn't have a stadium. You weren't financially viable to do it.
The community's not supporting the team anymore. Which, I mean, all of those things. Yeah. Who killed the Expos was the Canadian economy. Who killed the Expos was a series of bad decisions and bad moves. Part of it is, well, we got to keep local ownership. We got to keep this thing Canadian owned. Why? You can't afford it. You guys can't afford it. What are you doing? That 94 team, the names on that team are incredible. John Wetland, who was the closer before Mariano Rivera. Those early Yankee dynasties, Mariano Rivera throws the 8th inning, and John Wetland throws the 9th inning. John Wetland was on that Expos team. He went to the Yankees from that in that 94 deal when they collapsed things. Mel Rojas was their closer. He was fantastic at the time. They had Ken Hill, Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson had gone to the Mariners by then, but he had been a Mariner, or I mean, he had been a. Am I right about that? Maybe Randy Johnson wasn't one of them.
I thought he was, but it wouldn't surprise me.
He wasn't on that team. He wasn't on that team. I'm sorry. Their dude, when they were going through that team, that 94 team, and they're throwing out guys like Rondale White and Cliff Floyd. Oh, those dudes were dogs when they first came up.
I mean, when you hear, here's what I was kind of surprised about. When you hear Pedro Martinez, you automatically think Red Sox, right? I mean, that's what I do. I go, Red Sox dominate. Pedro Martinez is a big part of this documentary, and his love for Montreal was kind of surprising. I mean, I don't think he wanted to leave Montreal. And you hear, I know players want money and all that stuff. He generally loved it up there. He's like, it was so much different. He goes, it was clean, it was safe, there's no guns, there's no crime. It was a great place to live.
Yeah. He says, he goes through this whole thing of like, I felt safe. I loved it in Montreal. All of those guys say that same thing. All those guys say, man, there was something special about this place. When it was good, it was great. I think Larry Walker says, we didn't play in a stadium that was as loud as it was in Montreal. We had that many people here, and it was that awesome of an environment. This was the best place to play. And fell apart. They do blame the Americans.
I mean, it's not personal, it's business, right? I mean, that stealing a line from a movie, The Godfather, sometimes it's just business. And you can't, we hear, and I think today's economy and the way things work, that was still a time when I wouldn't say that now you have owners that have made so much money elsewhere that your franchise is like a toy or a hobby. Yeah. There's a lot of money. Back then, I do believe it was, you got an ownership group. You got to make money here because that's your livelihood. And I think the way it was set up, and I do think the strike hurt the Expos. There's no doubt about it. The stadium hurt the Expos. Not having a lot of really rich Canadians hurt the Expos. But if you're losing money, if you're an American, you come in and say, hey, you have to build us a new stadium. And they say, can't do it. What are you supposed to do when beams are, I mean, they were literally showing beams that were falling down. And then during a trade show, the roof collapses in and destroys stuff. You're like, It's just not a safe place to play.
Yeah, it was. It's an interesting documentary. It's a lot of fun. If you remember those '90s Expos teams, it's fun. They do a little bit of the history. You see a little bit of Gary Carter and Andre Dawson and Tim Raines. But it falls apart very, very quickly after the strike. Financial woes, man. When they hit hard, especially at that level.
Do you think Montreal, because you have to have a certain age group, and I would probably say it's 30, 35 and above, that remembers the Expos well. Even after watching that, there's always been that talk of maybe the Marlins would have gone to Montreal.
Yeah.
I don't know if Montreal ever gets a baseball team again.
I don't think they do. I mean, and I always thought that was kind of a weird thing that they would think about putting a team back in there. But, dude, watching that at times last night, I did think to myself, man, this reminds me of Tampa Bay. Good teams, they win, they put together a winner. When they don't win, nobody's there. Nobody is there. And that's when Major League Baseball starts to look around and go, okay, we got to figure something out here. We got to get somewhere where.
And that's what I said. Miami earlier. Go to Montreal. It was Tampa. I should have said Tampa. I knew it was a Florida team, but it was Tampa.
I think you're. I think that the Florida, the Miami Marlins were thinking about bouncing at 1.2. I don't think you're too far off with that.
Yeah.
Maybe we're both wrong.
And Tampa's right there because Tropicana Field. There's a lot of I'm glad you brought up Tampa because there are a lot of similarities there, in that. You have this field that's a dump. Nobody shows up to. They're trying to get public funding. They're saying, we don't know if we want to invest in this. They can't get a new stadium. I think I do understand the importance of a new stadium, and I'm okay with public funds being put into it because the area around a stadium usually develops fairly quickly. There's an influx of commerce. There's an influx of jobs. Housing, all sorts of things that benefit a government. Though I think there has to go both ways. It shouldn't be 100% funded by the public. There's got to be, hey, we're gonna put in a $1 billion, whatever they did in Los Angeles. But I'm with you. I mean, Montreal would have to build a stadium or at least fully commit to a stadium before it ever got one. There's no way you could renovate Olympic Stadium, which took them forever to pay off.
Yeah.
But
one thing that they don't talk about with that 94 team, they talk about how young that team was, Travis. They don't get into the specifics of it. The oldest guy in that starting lineup was 28 years old.
The oldest was 28.
The oldest guy on that team was their third baseman, Sean Barry. So oldest guy in the starting lineup. Now, again, you had guys like Ken Hill in the pitching rotation who are a little bit more veteran, but they had built this amazing young, talented team. We have Delino DeShields, Marquise Grissom. The outfield was Moises Alou, Cliff Floyd, and Larry Walker. I'm sorry, Marquise Grissom. Cliff Floyd played first. Marquise Grissom was in center field, who ended up going on to be with that Braves dynasty for a long time. Larry Walker, who went on to have an amazing career with Colorado. Moises Alou, who ended up ruining Steve Bartman's life.
And Felipe Alou was the manager. He's still beloved up there.
Yeah, he is, and he should be. Felipe Alou that's a pivotal moment in the documentary of how they brought him on, and it really kind of turned things around there because people fell in love with Felipe Alou. It's a fun one. I'm glad you told me about that. I had never seen it, and it's been around for a while. I noticed that too. Like, it's been on Netflix for a bit, and I'd never seen it. It never popped up in my documentary stuff. But I searched for Expos last night and found Who Killed the Montreal Expos.
Yeah.
About 2 hours, but a fun. Did you notice the...
Yeah, because they're all speaking French.
They're all speaking French, and then the subtitles aren't even... It's weird. There's a lot of kung fu happening in that movie.
Oh. I do like... The Expos branding is still some of the best branding out there because that logo lives. I mean, I'm sitting there going, man, I think I want to buy a Montreal Expos hat or a sweatshirt just because it's a cool logo.
I have an Expos pennant. Like I've got my Iowa Oaks pennant here. See that?
Yeah, I see that. Yes.
I have an Expos one somewhere. Maybe when I redo the office, because remember I was going to redo mine when you redid yours, but you didn't tell me you were redoing it. You just did it.
Well, it was always getting redone. I just came home one day and said, Owen says, Dad, we're moving downstairs. I'm like, oh, okay. We're ready to go.
I'll just do it.
Ready to make it happen. When I think what people forget, remember when Major League Baseball took over the Expos?
Yeah.
You know what team they also took over at that time?
No.
The Twins.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the Twins were part of that. There was a thought that the Twins were going to leave Minnesota, and they fought their way out of it, which is good, right? They got the new stadium, they got out of the Metrodome, but the Twins were part of that contraction that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, where Major League Baseball basically stepped in and said, okay, we're taking over. But the Twins were able to get themselves out of it. The Expos were not. I mean, I think it makes sense that there's a team in D.C. I don't have a problem with that. I just, for the longest time, Montreal fans said, we're not even going to watch baseball. They gave up on baseball altogether because they felt they were abandoned. But you're right. No one person, they like to blame the Americans. The Americans took over a shit show and had no choice but to say, yeah, this ain't working. We want to make money. We don't want to lose money. 515-517-2303. Again, you can find it on Netflix. Just search Who Killed the Expos. And that shows you how algorithms work. If a lot of people watch it, it moves into that, you'll see it. Otherwise, you have to go down a rabbit hole to even try to find it.
We'll take a break. It was fun.
We'll take a break, come back with hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
You've got enough on your plate, so when it's time to reset, grab a Fresca. Bold citrus, zero sugar, zero caffeine. Just clean, crisp refreshment that never goes out of style, whether it's post-work, post-gym, or just a break from the noise. Fresca's got your back. Pick up a Fresca at your local retailer today.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
Your tires connect your vehicle to the road, which means they take the brunt of every pothole, curb, or nail you come across. New tires are one of the most significant maintenance items you can perform on your car.
For the month of October, when you purchase 3 tires, you get the 4th for $1.
And proper alignment is the best way to maintain the longevity of your tires. That's why we give you a free alignment check with any regular service.
Give us a call
or schedule your service online at williscadillac.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
Largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow on the Rush Radio Show, Todd Stepsis, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers, is going to be joining us. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushladio.com and the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, start leaving your comments in the comments section, and follow us on our social media channels. Fun first hour, and hopefully to have a fun second hour, as we're here till 8 o'clock today. Ross, I'm going to pick your brain, because I'm always interested to where your brain goes to.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. Because you are, when you get on a soapbox, even if I disagree with you, I like to just sit back and watch your brain tick and just let you go off.
All right, here we go.
Well, you've had a lot of thoughts about amateurism. You've had a lot of thoughts about pay for play, paying players, the illegal collusion that is the NCAA, as you like to say.
Yep.
But we're in an ever changing world. And I was not aware of this. I was just made aware of this after reading Tom Izzo's comments. And when it comes to pay for play and what is amateurism, where do you draw the line? Let me back up, okay, and talk about Pavia from Vanderbilt and some other JUCO players. I really don't have a problem with JUCO players saying, hey, those 2 years shouldn't count towards my NCAA eligibility. Right? I struggle with it, but I can live with it. Does that make sense? I'm conflicted a little bit, but I can live with it.
Not a hill you'd die on.
Not a hill I'm going to die on.
Right.
But I may die on this hill. I want to know what you think. Louisville has signed and got commitments from 2 players that have been playing in the G League for the last 3 years.
Huh?
Exactly. And the NCAA is not stepping in and doing anything. And Tom Izzo is saying, hold on for a second.
What?
I'm glad you're having this reaction because, it's crazy, isn't it? They're international players. They played in the G League, making that $250,000 a year, whatever they make. But to me, once you make the decision to go to the developmental league, because that was the offset. If you didn't want to go to college and you thought you had what it took to make it in the NBA, you could go to the developmental G League and cut your chops there, get your playing time, and then go to the NBA. All of a sudden, you're averaging 7 points a game in the G League. You're not making it. Those NBA prospects aren't there. You're 3 years into your G League deal, and you're like, no, I think I'm a college player, and I want to go back and play college. And the NCAA has not said no to Louisville. That's not right. You made a choice at that point to become a professional athlete, to play professionally in the G League. You don't get to go back. You don't get to go do over.
I've always thought that I never liked this thing of if you declare for the draft, you're done.
I'm with you on that.
I never liked that. I always felt like guys should be able to say, hey, I'm available, and if somebody drafts me, I'll come play for you. But if I don't get drafted, kind of like in baseball. In baseball, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to put your name out there and say, hey, you can draft me, but if I don't get the right contract, I'm going to stay in college.
But would you agree with this? I think football and basketball have done a good job to find a happy medium there. That is, hey, you got a point of time to see if you're really going to get drafted, right? I mean,
yeah. And if you don't, you're done. You're done. I mean, dude, I'm not a crazy fan of the JUCO thing. I'm not a hill I would die on, but you and I would be on opposite sides of that hill where I would say, no, those years count. You weren't good enough to be a Division I player, or you didn't have your grades good enough to be a Division I player. There has to be consequences. There has to be accountability for the things that you've done in your life. And this thing of oh no, Dusty hits it. Dusty says it perfectly. The NCAA wouldn't let a kid get a cheeseburger a few years ago. Now we got teams signing pros out of the G League. We've ruined coaches' lives because they tried to help kids pay bills. We've destroyed players because their moms took a Ford Escort. It's crazy that now it's like, oh yeah. Yeah, now that everybody realizes what an absolute charade the NCAA is for the most part in some of these rules, we'll just relax all of them. These dudes, I completely agree with you. These guys decided that they were good enough to go be pros. They weren't. They weren't good enough. They ended up in the G League. They got paid pretty good money to be in the G League.
Because they thought they were going to be pros.
And now it's like, boy, if I could just get a few more years of development. Well, you're going to take away opportunities from young kids that are coming up. Is it possible that in 2 years, will these guys be better than a current senior in high school? Yeah. Because they've had 2 more years of development, 2 years of professional training, 2 years of professional competition to sharpen their blades. This is not this is not a level playing field. It's hurting the young athlete that's coming up who now trickle effect. There's only so many roster spots. These 2 guys come in here. That means these 2 guys down here end up going to a JUCO or a D3 or something like that.
You know, we've talked about age caps in the NCAA. And I think, you know, when we look at it, there should be some circumstances where those are waived. And that is if you did military service without actual playing the game, right? I mean, if you went served your country and you did a 4-year stint and you said, hey, I want to go give college football, college basketball, whatever it is, a try, I'm okay with that because you weren't competing in that. You might have been staying in shape, but you weren't developing your football skills. You spend time in the G League, you've developed your skills, you've played with men, and you're 3 years older. That's a gap I cannot accept.
Why can't I think of the Florida State quarterback that played for the Yankees? Man, why can't I think of his name? Somebody in the chat's going to know this right away. I'd have no problem with
it. Wasn't Wanky, either. Was it? Was it Wanky? Was it Chris Wanky?
Oh, I don't remember.
And then you had the Oklahoma State quarterback that was also, I think he did military time, or he might have been a baseball player too. And that's the unique thing is because you can go to baseball right out of college. And then go and
that's
go,
what
hey,
this kid did. And he went and played professional baseball. He was in the Yankees organization. He'd been a highly recruited quarterback. And then he looked around and he's like, you know what? I really think I want to go be a college quarterback. I have no problem with that. You're playing a different sport. This is Brandon Whedon. Thank you. And I saw Casey said Whedon also. Brandon Whedon. This is flying directly in. You went and became a professional athlete. You joined the league. And now 2 years into it, you go, I'm not quite this good. I'm not quite good enough to. You know where I could make money now is go to Louisville. Dude, this is embarrassing.
When you need leadership, this is where the NCAA has to lead. Don't get scared because you're going to get sued all the time. I think this is an easy one to win to say, you crossed a line. The line has been blurry with NIL and all that. I get that. But this was clearly crossing a line of I chose to be a professional. I chose to further my career because I thought I was better than the college game. And there are consequences. You don't get to play, hey, I was 18, I didn't know what I was doing. You got bad advice from an agent. You got bad advice from somebody. That falls on you. Dusty, I don't think quite, this is not a fair one. He says, Gable Stevenson won a gold medal, then wrestled for Minnesota. Hold on. That's not the same thing. Because in wrestling, if you're good enough to get into the Olympic trials and work your way up, even if you're a collegiate athlete, that can happen. Yeah. Right? I mean,
and by the way, you don't get paid.
No.
You don't get paid. It grows your, what's the word I'm looking for here, Trav? Grows your scope of, people who know who you are, whatever that. There's a word for that I can't come up with right now.
I mean, you could almost make the argument that Gable Stevenson was an old school Olympian, still a collegiate kid who got the chance to be an Olympian.
My buddy Brian says, are college athletes considered professionals now? So this is like going from the Canadian Football League to the NFL. Is this a case of unintended consequences? I don't quite see it that way. Are college athletes professional athletes? Yes. In my argument, they've always been. But this has always been also a clear distinction between those two things. If you think you're good enough to go to the league and you go play in the professional organization, you then can't come back and play against 18-year-olds. You thought you were good enough to do it. It didn't work out. Tough titty. That's the consequences of your decision. Now you need to take your money. If you need better coaching, if you need better competition, take the money that you got from the G League and buy those things. Invest in yourself. You're taking away opportunities from other kids when you do this. You made a decision. We lack accountability so much in this world right now. It's, hey, what feels good? What? Come on, you're gonna prevent this guy from doing that thing? Come on, man. They're just kids. You're right. They're kids that made a decision that they were better than the system that was in front of them. They were better than the system that was laid out to say you can go do this stuff. Or they didn't have the grades or whatever it is, and now all of a sudden magically, they're smart enough. What changed? What changed was the guy found out he wasn't good enough to make the NBA. He'd lived in a world of confidence. He'd swam in a pool of privilege. And he said, I'm the big dog. These are the consequences for those decisions. This is the accountability for that thing. At some point, you got to turn your brain on and go, all right, hold on. We can't just keep doing it for the kids. What's that mean? We can't keep doing things just because it's what feels good for that guy or seems like it's the best fit for that guy. That's not the same. These are guys that decided that they were better than the college game. And now they're not. And so the doors are still open for them. I feel like getting paid from a college is not the same. And maybe I'm playing mental gymnastics here.
No, you can play but I kind of agree with you. And I need to make a correction. I said both kids are going to Louisville. That's not true. London Johnson,
going to like Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
Okay.
But still, you're talking about two guys in the G League. And if you don't stop this now, how many more G Leaguers are going to go?
I can make
more
next year
and make more money.
Oh yeah, and grow my brand. Yeah,
I'm glad Tom. Some people don't like Tom Izzo, and he even said, "Hey, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this," but he's not wrong. You need people to speak out and go, "Hey, this is a line we've crossed." The unintended consequence of NIL, Ross, is this, right? This is one we didn't see coming. Like, well, they're getting paid here, so what's the difference if they didn't?
Difference? I mean,
what's the difference?
It's a fair point. What's the difference? Are they getting money? Isn't it pay for performance? I remember years ago when I started saying this on the at the other place, and I said it up front. I said, "Hey, I'm going to create a safe space for you. This is going to sound insane. What I'm going to say to you is going to piss off a lot of people, but maybe we should remove sports from an attachment to the institution of higher learning. Maybe there shouldn't be school sports at any level. At any level. Maybe there shouldn't be school sports. If the best competition is happening at the club level, dude, look at girls' sports. Look at volleyball and softball.
Softball?
Anybody in the state who's got a kid worth their salt would say to you, the real stuff happens in the
and
club.
even girls basketball, the Iowa Attack, you're talking about the best club team in the country.
Yes.
where
all the real recruiting happens there.
Yes, it does. I know for a fact that college volleyball coaches don't go to high school volleyball matches anymore. They go to all the AAU stuff. And I had there was a Division I kid coming out of Omaha Creighton Prep, and I asked the basketball coach, "But how much did you see college coaches here?" He goes, "Guy never showed up." He goes, "They just go to AAU."
Yeah.
He goes, and the bad thing is you don't. That's a mistake in recruiting, because if you don't go to the school to ask, how's the kid character-wise? I mean, you learn a lot about the kid when you go to the school and you're able to ask certain questions. But if all now you're like, oh, we're just going off talent, we don't care what his character is, we're not going to find out, ask real questions from a coach, all you're going to do is go to an AAU tournament. But I think the NCAA right now is just so freaking scared because they keep losing. They keep losing. Skinner says, would the G League own them after college? No big bonuses for the NBA. I don't think they own them.
No.
I think the G League is saying, hey, you probably had that conversation with, you're not going to make it here. Right? I mean, you've had 3 years to development.
Somebody sat with them and said, hey, man, I'm not sure what your goal is here, but you're not on the path to get there.
Where else can this go? I mean, there's no real avenue for football to do this.
Look at this. This is a true story. I know her dad. A girl graduated from Des Moines East High School. She is on a full ride scholarship to UCLA. She never had an at-bat as a Scarlet.
Really?
Yep. Yep. She's amazing, if you can't tell.
See,
her dad's a great guy. He was he played for the Hawkeyes, played for the Barnstormers, has been a part of the East High community and a teacher there for years. But and I don't think anybody, I hope nobody faults him. I mean, look what he got his daughter a full ride scholarship to UCLA. He did the right thing.
I get that, but Ross, if you're an East High athlete and you see this and you're like, you don't want to play for your school?
No, I don't. Because it's not that I don't want to play with you and my friends. No, I'm of a certain caliber of athlete. I'm of a certain caliber of athlete. It is a waste of time, and it's potentially dangerous for me to come out here and play with people that don't know what they're doing. I'm playing with people that have been playing at a very high level their entire life. To all of a sudden show up and say, all right, who needs help on how to throw a ball? What am I doing here? What am I doing? And as a parent, you would say that same thing. I'm not helping my kid here. I'm here to help the community?
See,
no.
you and I probably disagree on this. I still have that maybe school pride. There was over here, there was a club soccer team that started that was supposed to be like uber elite, right? But part of being that uber elite was you could not play high school soccer. It folded because there was a lot of pushback, from the high school coaches and even parents that said, hold on for a second. There's still an experience that takes place with high school teammates that needs to exist. I mean, could you imagine if Caitlin Clark never played at Dowling?
Yeah, I can. I absolutely can. I see a world evolving where that's exactly what happens. Dusty knows because Dusty's daughter was there at this time. She didn't want to play on a team where they had to teach kids how to hold the bat. It's no offense to the other kids. That would have held her back. This is not an example of a rising tide raises all ships. It's not. Would the team have been better with her on it? Yeah. But she would have been held back. She wouldn't. No scholarships are coming from East High School softball. I shouldn't say it like that, but not like this.
So Sean's putting this out there, and he says, Ross, that actually sounds like a G League mentality. So what's the difference between playing for an AU team and maybe getting NIL?
I'd argue it's actually the other way around. I'd argue that what you guys are saying is advocating for going to the G League and then coming back and playing at a lower level. You have the talent. You think you're talented enough not to play high school softball. If this girl's dad would have said, I don't think that she's going to benefit from high school softball. I think that I can get her to UCLA on a full ride scholarship by not having her play high school softball. And then when it didn't work out, if he'd have said, oh, wait, yeah, we can benefit from high school softball and come back and play. That would be like doing the G League thing. I feel like I'm the one who's being consistent here and saying, no, if you want to do this at a different level, you can go do it at a different level. It's not okay for you to go to this new level and go, eeg, this isn't working out. Hey, can I come back and play? Can I come back and do this thing back here? Sports are evolving, moving forward. And I absolutely do see a world where we disassociate the institutions of higher learning. We get these schools to focus on school again, and the sports are ancillary.
I think
you can run them. You can run them adjacent to each other. They can still have the logo. There shouldn't be that connection to it, and I'd be okay with that.
I would say it happens at the high school level before it happens at the college level. I don't disagree with you, and I think it's many, many years away. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. But I see it happening at the high school level before it happens at the college level, just because of the scope and scale of what we're seeing in the millions of dollars. Because the truth is, you know who doesn't want to disassociate? The school itself.
Yeah.
Because the benefit financially that they get from having a college football playoff team, we've seen it with Drake, Northern Iowa. You make the NCAA tournament, what happens? Your enrollment numbers go up. Those schools like to be associated with those college
You're right.
teams.
And that's why I say what I in my vision of the future, you still have the logo. The Iowa logo is there's still going to be a Hawkeye football team. Your Iowa Hawkeyes will be out there on Saturday. Don't worry. Loyal son forever true. Hilton Coliseum will have guys dribbling a basketball. You're going to be fine. They just don't need to be students.
They can just do football all the time, which they do now anyway.
Dude, we're already there. We've talked to coaches that go, we don't even talk about academics. Nobody asks me about graduation rates anymore.
You know, and this is where I become a bit hypocritical. And I think it's different because of maybe the popularity and everything. But you look at the Des Moines Bucks, juniors in hockey is a perfect example of what you are saying. Meaning, and the reason that happens is because there's not a lot of high school hockey teams. It's not sanctioned in every state.
I can tell you why hockey is the difference. I can give you one word that that will explain to you why it's different for hockey than all these other sports. One word: international. Hockey is an international game. It's not an American sports model game. Look at soccer. I mean, dude, Brian Duax. We could have Brian on to talk about this. Brian's kid played professionally.
For the Menace, right?
Did he have to play high school soccer to do that? Brian would say, no. No, it was club. Club was where he sharpened his skills. Is it great that he plays for high school and plays with his buddies and does that thing and you build that community? All of those things can still be true. Is it necessary? No. In some cases, can it slow a kid down? Yeah. Yeah. You put an amazing talent on their subpar team, you're not helping that kid get better. Are they going to go out and hit 1,000 home runs and bat .973? Yeah. Yeah, they're going to set every record in the state. Yep. Did you help the kid out? No. It's happened with baseball. We've had baseball players in this state of Iowa that have been drafted into a major league team that never played high school baseball.
Really? I did not know that.
That's happened. I've had a couple kids that's happened with, I believe.
Because I mean, I know you have AAU teams and Legion teams, but usually I always thought kind of like after that 14-year-old is when the club baseball kind of dropped off a little bit.
Not the elites. Not for the elites. It should. I mean, club baseball is a money grab for the most part.
Yeah.
If the parents check cashes, then yeah, we'll find a slot for your kid to play on a Saturday. But for the elites, for the elite players, that AAU thing has been happening at the high school level for a long time. When I was a kid, there was wood bat leagues, and that's what they would do. They would take the best of the best, the guys that I played with that were amazing baseball players. They played for East High. We had a really good baseball team. And then the best of the best, those dudes went off and played in their own league. They went and played their own league. And did it give them opportunities? Yeah. Did it make them better? Yeah. This is an American sports model that we are trapped in. Amateurism is part of it. But once you make that leap, especially the hypocrisy of the NCAA. Dusty nailed it earlier. We used to bust kids for getting a cheeseburger a few years ago. And now all of a sudden you can go be in the professional league and then come back. So I would say then what's next? If you're okay with and I'm not saying that you are. If somebody out there is saying, wait a minute, there's no difference between the G League and college sports anymore. Okay, then there's no difference between any professional league and college sports. So now it is a free flow. College is basically going to be recruiting. Why can't you recruit a guy from the Lakers?
Think about this. What if a kid leaves that leaves college foot, and what could happen here? Kid leaves after his junior year for the NFL. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make a team. You're sitting there with one more year of eligibility. I mean, so in 2 years after trying, you went to USFL, and all of a sudden you go, you know what? I'm going to go take my last year of eligibility. I don't want to see that. I think you would agree with that too. I mean, once you've decided to go that route, you're done.
Yes. So it should be a one-way funnel. Ross says he umpires a lot of elite baseball in the fall.
And the thing about the junior hockey thing, there is an age cap on that. Now, it's pretty wide-ranging, but there does come a point where you're like, you're
not good enough.
You're not good enough to get your college scholarship or go on to the NHL.
Which takes me back to the JUCO thing. Like you weren't good enough to get there. You'd made the wrong decisions, whether that was academically, and you ended up at a JUCO. Okay, get better, hone your skills, and then go take advantage of the opportunity that's ahead of you. But this thing of going back and saying, well, now, wait a minute, I just needed to get a little bit better. So now I should still get 4 years of Division I eligibility because I played at a JUCO.
515-517-2303. Let's go to the phones. That's where Jenny. Is this Jenny or Jay? It's Jay. Jay, welcome to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. What's up? Jay, you there?
I don't think so. I never heard anything.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything either.
Gary makes a good point. If Kobe Bryant was still alive, Kobe Bryant retires. He's a Hall of Famer. Wait, Kobe's still got 4 years of eligibility left. Oh my gosh. LeBron still has 4 years of eligibility. Could LeBron help a college basketball team? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would a team throw millions of dollars at LeBron James to come back and play college basketball? Yeah. Would you like that if it was any team but your own? No. So I do feel like I'm being very consistent here with it's a path forward. And I honestly think there's a time, and it's creeping. We just talked about it. It's happening with girls' sports, with volleyball and softball. It's happened a few times with baseball. It will continue. Those things will continue to grow, and eventually, the way that Little League became the league for the kids that didn't really care to be that great. I'm not mocking. I love Little League. I was a Little Leaguer. My son is a Little Leaguer. I loved it. Is it for the elite kids? No. In fact, there's 1 year in Little League baseball. There's 1 year that is for the elite kids. It's when you're 12 years old in Little League majors and you've got a chance to go play in Williamsport in the Little League World Series. And if you think that Grandview and Southeast Polk Little League aren't watching those kids in their region, because they all have a geographic region, that are playing USSSA and are playing 10U majors, if you don't think that those guys are showing up at those places and talking to those coaches and saying, hey, here's the deal. I see that you've got the best group of 10-year-olds in the Metro. How about we go win a Little League World Series someday? That's what happens. That's been happening for a long time in Little League.
Oh, when Owen's team got beat at the state tournament, it was fielded by a team that played the minimal amount of Little League games and played U-Trip the rest of the way. Yes. Their biggest mistake when you could tell because they forgot the lead-off rules and all that other, like, oh, what? They had to ask their coaches, what are we playing today? Yeah. What rules are we playing today?
There you go, Trav. There you go. That's so it's already happening. I think people are just resistant to what's happening there. And again, I would tell you, we are brainwashed. We are stuck in the American sports model. Most of the other that's why hockey's different. Because when hockey showed up here in the States, the rules were already established. You already had Canadian kids that were looking around going, wait a minute, I don't play for a school. I ain't here to learn no school. Cardale Jones.
515-517-2303. That's the number to call. Quick reminder that in Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Corn grows feed for our livestock, food for our families, and clean-burning fuel. For your drive to the game or anywhere, drive clean with Unleaded 88 and support Iowa corn farmers. Go to iowacorn.org to pump it up with Unleaded 88. It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
No tricks, just treats at Willis Chevrolet of Granger. We've got the largest inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles, all aggressively priced. Get a 2025 Silverado with 0% APR for 36 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Or grab a 2026 Silverado with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months. Looking for value? Drive away in an affordable Trailblazer with 3.9% APR and 90 days deferred payments. Come knock on our door or visit us online at willischevy.com for these treats, and we won't even make you tell us a joke to get them.
Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Every business has priorities, and Priority One Heating and Cooling is no different. As a service provider, we prioritize quality air conditioners and furnaces that will keep your home at your comfort level year-round. As a small business, we prioritize doing things the right way and treating people fairly. As a truly local business, we prioritize our community. As a veteran-owned business, we prioritize duty and commitment. For big business service with local value, trust your home to the place where you are always Priority One.
Hi, I'm Bradley Ollinger here at Willis Nissan. Now until October, we are offering buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1. Take advantage of this deal right now before winter. Go online today at willisnissan.com to schedule your tire placement today, and we'll see you on the service drive.
Rush, strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Don't forget, Halloween is coming up, and you want to hear something scary good? The Iowa Lottery already launched their holiday scratch and Instaplay tickets. That's right, holiday-themed scratch and Instaplay tickets are here, so you can start thinking about the gift that keeps on giving all season long, and that would be cash. They not only make great stocking stuffers, but if you're a VIP club member, you can enter your non-winning holiday tickets into the upcoming Second Chance promotion that launches soon. We'll have more details for you later this month, but we have it on good authority that they're giving away $1 million in total cash prizes, so stay tuned. Go to IowaLottery.com.
I love what the chat has done with this Tom Izzo conversation, though. Think Ricky Davis still has it in good shape? He's got eligibility. Again, once they've opened this door for the G League, why not? Why can't Ben McCollum recruit from the Timberwolves roster? He can certainly recruit from the Iowa Wolves roster.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait. Unless the guy was drafted by an NBA team and he didn't actually go and play for that you got to start doing these crazy mental gymnastics to go, well, no, wait a minute. There's a difference here because his check said Minnesota Timberwolves and this check said G League, and so we can. What? No, everybody instantly would go, wait, that's not right. I'm blown away that this is something that was allowed to do. And I think I'm totally with Tom Izzo on this. When he said, man, I'm going to piss off a lot of people when I say this. You know what he was saying there? Man, I'm going to piss off the people in charge. Because no fan is upset by this. Or no fan is upset by his pointing this out. Maybe there's some people from Louisville or Santa Clara that are like, hold on, we're going to be better at basketball next year. You're right.
Or you hope you're right.
You're right. You should be. You better be. You brought in a freaking professional to play against 18-year-old kids. You better be better next year. He better average 22 a game.
Better dominate.
He better dominate. Because if he doesn't dominate, then what the hell was he ever doing at the G League? That's supposed to be for the elite of the elite. You earn your way to that thing. They probably gave up that store a long time ago when they started saying, "Oh, you want to come from Africa and we'll be in the G League? Yeah, come on." Somebody thought he was good enough. Not just the player. The player doesn't get to decide that. Otherwise, the G League would have 40,000 people in it. Somebody had to say, "No, you're good enough to be in the G League here." Who's that? Where's the accountability on that? That guy's not making decisions still, is he? Anyway, you want to talk about other things too.
Well, no. Brian Duax actually chimed in on the club.
Oh, nice.
Thing.
What do you say?
He says, club is where you train year-round. You really sharpen your soccer skills. Here's what I like, but this is parenting. This is parenting. High school is similar, but only 8 weeks long. A lot more learning life skills.
Yes.
But those are important, right? If you are sheltered in an athletic bubble to where all it is train. Look at Todd Marinovich. Never learned freaking life skills.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the high school game is that you do learn winning and losing. You learn a different how to deal with people.
Trev, we all benefited from. Everybody listening to this. If you played sports with your buddies, you benefited from that. There's a community thing that happens with that. I won't deny that. There's a community thing that happens, and you build camaraderie and friendship, and Brian knows it better. I'm glad he told you that. What a great way to put it. You build more life skills. You're going to build better skills that are going to pay off for you in your business world. That's not what we're talking about.
But they are skills you need.
Yes, if you're going to succeed in business and in the community and things like that, yeah.
I would think even as you get older into a professional career, if you don't have those life skills, you may be set back a little bit. That's just my opinion.
So to that point, like, is LeBron James, does he have less life skills because he didn't play college basketball at Ohio State?
But he played high school basketball. He played on a high school team.
Basketball. But again, but I'm just asking the question, does he have less life skills because he didn't play?
I don't know if LeBron James is a good example. I think you need to take other guys that went in the first round that went straight out of high school and didn't make it and see where they're at, right? Because that when you are almost a billionaire, you're surrounded by. I think LeBron James is not a good example. There would be somebody.
This reminds me of a conversation I had one time about Hawkeye football when Norm Parker said the only place you can build camaraderie like this is in a college football locker room. That's bullshit.
I would agree with that.
You don't just get life skills in sports. Dusty says it again. You don't have to play sports to get life skills. I know a lot of people that never played sports. They're fantastic people.
Well, I'll use my own daughter as an example who's in college right now. She moves a long ways away from home. She's always been a homebody. She's not homesick, but you know, you live in a dorm with 4 girls and with who you didn't know going in, there's some conflict right there. And she calls and I said, "Hey, this is what college is about. You're there to get an education, sure, but this is where you learn other things outside of the world on your own, on conflict resolution, different personalities. Your mom and dad aren't there to shelter you, protect you from this." I go, you can call and complain all you want. You're not coming home.
Yeah.
Do you like your classes? Yes. Do you like the school? Yes. If this is the only problem you have, this is what you have to learn to get through this.
Dude, I've said this to you, and it's been many years since this is the thing that I missed out on by not going to college. I saw all my friends come back with life skills that I didn't have. They were able to deal with people in all different moods, because every day, man, people are different. And in a college dorm, it's concentrated. You gotta weed through that. I saw all of my friends who went and lived in a college dorm, even if they were there for a short period of time, they came back with these life skills that I was missing.
I'm one of those. I grew up in rural Iowa, Minden, Iowa, town of 400 people, right? In my neck of the woods, there wasn't a black person within 50 miles because you had to go to Omaha or Council Bluffs, right? I show up at Grandview. I've never been around black kids before. And let's be honest, when you don't, you grow up, I'm not going to say racist, but you grow up with like, oh, you know, then I'm like, well, this is stupid. Yeah. You know, like you're the way of thinking, like this is just dumb the way I was, right? And it changes your perspective on everything. And I learned more at Grandview probably from a people social standpoint than I did
from a book standpoint.
I did from a book and taking Western Civ with Mr. Akermark, you know?
Like how offensive it must be to military personnel who've gone to war to hear a coach say, well, the only place you can get a brotherhood like this is in a locker room. No, the only place you got it was in a locker room. This is like when a teacher tells every kid they need to go to college. No. You went to college. That was your path. It doesn't mean it needs to be everybody's path. Sports do serve a purpose. You can find those skills in other parts of life. So this thing of, well, we got to have sports there so that we can raise good kids. No, it helps. It helps.
It does.
My son, one of the great things that I saw happen with my son was going from being a really good player on a team to being a not so good player on a team. To go from being a cleanup hitter who was starting to being at the end of the bench on the basketball team. That gives you perspective in that sports world. It gives you that perspective of, okay, here's how the best get treated. Here's how the worst get treated. Here's how it feels to be looked up to. Here's how it feels to look up to people. And in a way, that's just it's a tiny slice of that dorm life you're talking about. I really do think that what you just described, Trav, is perfect of what one of the great benefits is to living in that dorm life. And by the way, like somebody said, good parenting on you. I mean it. Good parenting on you to not say to your daughter, "Oh, honey, they're just being mean."
Yeah, I mean, that's life. People are going to be mean to you at every stage of your life, or maybe not mean, but just they're not going to be like you.
And a coach
that's part of it.
A coach can represent a boss. Eli's wrestling coach, when he's hard on him or tough, that's my thing is like, yeah, dude, guess what? That's life.
Now, I'm always going to advocate for kids playing sports for a number of reasons. A, because I think some of those life skills come faster in a team atmosphere.
Yes,
being part of a team, and you learn what roles are. Because when you get in business, you have roles, right? There are certain roles that you have to fill. You're not always going to be the captain. You're not always going to be the leader. And you have to learn how to navigate that. So I think there are life skills that happen faster, but it's not that they can't be learned. Yeah. But I will always advocate. My girls didn't play any sports, and I was always disappointed they didn't play sports. But I never told them that because that was their choice.
Well,
but
Abigail's listening now, so
well, no, but
she just commented too.
Yes, I don't know.
Sorry,
Abigail, I'm going to disagree with you. This is my daughter. Same camaraderie is being taught is in theater and speech. Yeah,
dude. Listen,
I know what you mean, sweetie.
I was on the debate team. I did speech and theater and stuff, and yes, she's right. She's right. They are the same life skills that you're talking about. I completely agree with you. I love kids playing sports, and I think that playing in team sports is important because it helps with these things. But I would agree with Abigail. I was taught some of those same things on the debate team. I was never the best debater. I was at the end of the bench on the debate team. I was a JV debater.
That surprises me.
Dude, because there's dudes, it humbles you. You go into the room thinking, I'm the best arguer on the planet, and you walk out of the room and go, I got lots of learning to do. There it is. They are those similar life skills, slightly different, and I think that you are correct in that in sports, it comes at you faster. You learn it. You learn it very quickly in sports.
I had I recorded a podcast yesterday for MCL Construction with a president of a college, and we got into this conversation afterwards, and just about. We were talking about The Anxious Generation. It's a book that I think everybody should read about. And she goes, you ever notice that when it comes to addicts, she goes, do you ever notice we call like people who like basically drug addicts users, and we call people who are addicted to their phone users. It's the only time we call them users. But then we started going down another conversation about education. She goes, and this is kind of where we're talking about with life skills. When you start cutting physical education, when you start cutting art, when you start cutting music, you're cutting life skills programs that help you develop as a human being.
Yep.
Instead of just, you got to be in the classroom, so we don't have money for art, we don't have money for music, we don't have money for theater, we don't have money for physical education. Because to me, physical education isn't about phys ed. You do play team sports in phys ed. Yeah. Those are the, and the anxious generation really comes down to kids are on their phone instead of outside playing and learning how to do things.
And that's part of it, I tell you. You're getting kids up, moving around, running.
Yes.
Dude, it's so funny. I had this conversation with a couple of parents standing outside waiting for Audrey yesterday. Because Audrey's class seems to be, they're in 4th grade. They seem to be the last class out of the school every day. And so a couple of the moms, parents of...
Look at my daughter bragging. Academic state gold medalist in speech
right
over here.
Damn right she is. We're having this conversation about, it was 2 of the girls, I'm sorry, my daughter obviously is in the class. It was another mom who had a daughter in the class, and then a boy in the class, his mom was standing there, and the 3 of us were talking. We're like, man, our kids are always the last ones out. And one of the moms says, yeah, my daughter says it's because of the boys. That the boys just can't settle down. It's the end of the day, and they're just rambunctious.
They're wound up.
They're wound up. They're wound up. And all the boys, when it gets to be 3 o'clock, they're like, "Rah!" And I'm like, yeah, that's a real thing. That's a very real thing. I can absolutely see what's happening inside of that classroom right now. Those boys are being boys. Their testosterone's starting to run a little bit. 4th grade, they're starting to they're starting to peacock on each other a little bit more. I can imagine it's difficult at 3 o'clock. What helps with that? PE. Burn off some of that energy, kids. Run. We're going to run laps. And again, most of the girls would be like, I don't need to run laps. I don't have this burning energy inside of me that I've got to go out and do something physical. But get out there and tear around the gym a little bit so that you can burn off some of that excess energy. Everybody's built a little bit different. Everybody gets different things from those things. I love that Abigail's not only listening but weighing in on that, because I think she's exactly right. Sports can help. They're not a necessity with it.
Now, to be fair, Abigail has come back to me because, Abigail's 6'6", right? And she was tall all her life. And she has come back and said, why didn't you make me play basketball? I said, I tried. You showed no interest.
Yeah.
The only one I really pushed in sports was Owen, and it's probably the male thing, right? And Owen could have quit football. It wasn't like he was a great football player, but he just wanted to be part of that team. He played all 4 years at prep, wasn't a starter, played, but what he got from being part of that team are some of his lifelong friends and I think he learned a lot during that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good conversation. I mean,
Love it.
And it diverted from the original thing of G League, which is just wrong. It's just wrong.
It's crazy that the NCAA has, dude. They're not even recognizable from what they were a couple years ago.
No,
all of this bullshit that they tried.
You know what it is?
They force-fed us for years.
They've thrown up the white flag.
They finally realized that this amateurism thing was all a hustle. Started listening to idiots like me.
What a lack of accountability to say, well, we don't know, just let them do it. I mean, that's bad leadership.
Horrible.
It's horrible leadership.
This is a slippery slope because what now prevents Ben McCollum from reaching out to the Iowa Wolves and saying, hey, you guys got anybody over there with some eligibility?
And I don't fault Louisville or Santa Clara in this or whatever, because
Santa Clara,
what they're doing is saying, well, okay, well, let's just see what happens here, right? You go, if they tell us no, they tell us no, but let's just see what happens. And then you're like, shit, they took him.
Can I point out another obvious thing? If Santa Clara, a dude from the G League is going to play for Santa Clara?
If that doesn't tell you what you need to know about the kid's ability, I don't know what does.
They're in the West Coast Conference. Here's who a kid from the G League is going to play this year, okay? I'm going to roll through some teams that a kid that played in the G League. He'll play against Humboldt, McNeese, Idaho State, St. Louis, Utah Tech, North Texas, Portland, San Diego, Pacific. What?
Not exactly 5-star talent right there, or even 4-star talent.
That is the conference that Gonzaga is in. Oregon State, Washington State, Loyola Marymount, St. Mary's. If this dude doesn't average 25 a game,
it's a flop.
What are we doing?
Sean says, can we set some time tomorrow to discuss The Perfect Neighbor? Sure, Sean. You can call and talk about the Perfect Neighbor anytime you want.
I'd encourage people to watch it. It's a wild ride. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hour.
About an hour and a half, yeah.
No commentary at all. They just use police camera video and audio, and then a few confession room cameras and like outside of jail cameras. It's real footage. Zero commentary. You make your own decisions on it. It's an interesting ride. I enjoyed it. It's
the
really
only
hard. It's tough.
the only opinion came in written form at the end of the movie, right? And it was hard to disagree with the opinion they were throwing out. But yeah, you're just like, somebody said in there, it was just it was sad, wild and sad.
It's tough.
It is.
It's sad to watch because a woman loses her life just trying to do the right thing. Really, she tried to do the right thing. She tried to let her kids be kids and then stand up for her kids when things were getting crazy. They tried to call the cops and get the cops involved. Well, there's a part of me that kind of feels bad for the cops. Like there's nothing they can do.
Ross,
about it.
There's a part of me that feels bad for the shooter, meaning there was mental illness there and nothing was getting done.
Big time.
Nothing was getting
exactly
done.
It, Trav. This is why, we'll do this tomorrow because I'll get on a whole soapbox about all these people standing around on the side of the interstate right now. They need help. They need help, and it's not in the form of dollars being handed out a window. That's not the help that they need. That's not the help that our community needs them to get. We have crazy people standing on the side of the road. Something really, really bad is going to happen. And just like this case, we have to wait for that bad thing to happen before anybody can claim the jurisdiction. Because right now it's like, well, are they Highway Patrol? Are they Des Moines PD? Is it really Polk County? We don't even know. And then once a cop does roll up on them, what do they do to help them? We don't even know. And you talk to the cops about it. I'm not. The cops want to help, and they're like, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. So we got to
can't legally take them in. There's just, it would suck to be a cop.
It would, but cops need a better PR person. Cops need a PR person to step in and go, hey, guys, here's the deal. Don't ever drive by somebody in need of help. If a car has its flashers on and you roll by it, stop. That will build community rapport. Did I tell you about the time that I helped a guy, Travis, on the freeway who'd slid off the road? And the guy he's sideways on an off ramp at Valley West Mall last winter. And there's a young gal out trying to help him move. And so I got out. We got the car back on the road. As we're helping him, a police officer pulls up behind him. I'm thinking, oh, great, this guy's going to help out. The cop sat in his car. The whole time we did all this stuff, the cop sat in his car. Like, man, what's this guy? Why isn't he helping out? We finally got the car back on the road, and I kind of walked back towards the cop car, and he rolls his window down, and he goes, are you the driver? And I said, no, that's my Jeep up there. He's like, oh, okay, I need to write a ticket to the driver.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
What? It's icy, and he slid off the road. Yeah, he didn't maintain control of his vehicle. I got to write him a ticket. Yeah, I wonder why people hate the cops. I'm in West Des Moines the other day. Dude's got his flashers on. Cop drives right by him. Looks at him as he goes. Could have helped.
Don't forget, you can pick up a free $50 gift certificate from Full Court Press just by signing up for the newsletter. One random person is going to be picked. Just go to fullcourtpressdm.com, get signed up for the newsletter right there on the homepage. Bruno will be with us tomorrow talking about Full Court Press, as well as Todd Steps as head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers. Fun show today. Share it with people. Tell people to listen and watch. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
It's Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes. No artificial dyes and coconut water. Choose better. Body Armor.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you, taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
What's going on, everybody? Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity. I'm excited to talk about some new things we have going on this month in October. Right now, we only have a handful of 2025 models left. We have 10,000 in retail cash on 2025 80s. We have 8,000 on QX60s, and we have 6,500 on QX50s and 55s. Also, all 2026 models, we have $2,000 off. For more information, come visit our showroom or online at willisinfinity.com.
Bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.